Most Americans right now are making a financial mistake so catastrophic that it's going to cost them literally decades of their lives. And the scariest part? They have no idea it's happening. Right now, while you're watching this, millions of people are looking at their retirement accounts thinking they're on track. They see that number going up every month. Maybe it's $50,000, maybe it's $100,000, maybe even $200,000. And they think, okay, I'm doing all right. But I ran the math, and when you actually calculate what that money will give you in retirement, it's terrifying. We're not talking about retiring on a beach somewhere. We're talking about choosing between groceries and medication. And the worst part? The solution is actually simple. Most people just never learn it. So if you're sitting there thinking your 401k is enough, or that Social Security will cover you, or that you've still got time to figure this out later, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you. Because once you see these numbers, you can't unsee them. Hi, I'm Sam. Today, I'm going to break down the brutal math behind why 4 out of 5 Americans will never achieve financial independence in retirement. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the exact steps to make sure you're not one of them. This isn't going to be comfortable, but if you stick with me through this entire video, you'll understand money better than 95% of people out there. And if you want more content like this, breaking down the financial strategies that actually work, hit that subscribe button right now. Most people won't. That's probably why most people retire broke. So let's start with some numbers that should terrify you. According to the Federal Reserve's 2025 survey of consumer finances, the median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64, people who are about to retire, is $185,000. That sounds like a lot of money, right? It's not. Here's the math. If you retire at 65 with $185,000 and you follow the 4% rule, which is what most financial advisors recommend, you can safely pull out about $7,400 a year. Per year. That's $616 a month. Now add in Social Security. The average Social Security benefit in 2026 is about $1,907 a month. So you're looking at total monthly income of around $2,523. Can you live on $2,523 a month? Maybe, if you own your home outright, if you never get sick, if nothing ever goes wrong. But that's not rich. That's not even comfortable. That's surviving. And here's what makes this even worse. Half of Americans have less than that $185,000. Half. The median means 50% of people have more and 50% have less. So millions of Americans are heading into retirement with maybe $50,000, $75,000, some with nothing at all. The Economic Policy Institute found that nearly half of families have zero retirement savings. Zero. And we're not just talking about young people starting out. We're talking about people in their 50s and 60s. Now, you might be thinking, well, at least I'm better than average, and maybe you are. Maybe you've got $300,000 saved up. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. Let me show you why you shouldn't be. $300,000 following the 4% rule gives you $12,000 a year. That's $1,000 a month. Add in Social Security, you're looking at about $2,900 a month total. You're still looking at a massive pay cut in retirement. And here's something most people don't think about: healthcare. The average couple retiring at 65 will spend about $315,000 on healthcare throughout retirement, according to Fidelity. That's not covered by Medicare. That's out-of-pocket costs. So if you've got $300,000 saved and you need to spend $315,000 just on healthcare, you see the problem, right? Before we get to the solution, we need to talk about the 4 lies that got us here. Because until you understand what you've been told that's completely wrong, you can't fix it. Lie number 1, your 401k is enough. Look, I'm not saying don't contribute to your 401k. You absolutely should, especially if you get an employer match. That's free money. But here's what nobody tells you. The average American contributes about 7% of their salary to their 401k. Let's say you make $60,000 a year. That's $4,200 annually. Your employer matches 3%. That's another $1,800. So you've got $6,000 going in per year. If you do this for 30 years and get an average 7% return, which is pretty optimistic actually, you'll end up with about $566,000. Sounds good, right? But remember the 4% rule? 4% of $566,000 is $22,640 a year. Add Social Security, you're at about $45,500 a year in retirement. You're going from $60,000 a year to $45,500. That's a 24% pay cut in retirement. And that's if everything goes perfectly. If the market crashes right when you retire, if you have a medical emergency, if inflation is higher than expected, you're in trouble. And here's the part that really gets me. Your company probably auto-enrolled you at 3% or maybe 5% contribution, and you never changed it. You just accepted whatever they set as the default. That default was not designed to make you rich. It was designed to meet minimum legal requirements and keep the company's costs down. Lie number 2, you have plenty of time. This is the one that kills people. The math of compound interest is brutal when you start late. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25 at 7% returns, by age 65, you'll have about $1.2 million. But if you wait until 35 to start, same $500 a month, same return, you'll have about $566,000. You lost $634,000 by waiting 10 years. Wait until 45, you'll have about $244,000. You've lost almost $1 million compared to starting at 25. And here's the psychology behind this lie. When you're 25, retirement feels like science fiction. It's 40 years away. Your brain literally cannot process that timeline in a meaningful way. So you prioritize what feels urgent now. The car payment, the vacation, going out on weekends. I'm not saying don't live your life, but every dollar you don't invest in your 20s costs you about $4 in your 60s. Think about that next time you're about to spend $100 on something you don't really need. That's $400 of retirement money. And people always say, I'll start saving when I make more money. You know what happens when you make more money? You spend more money. Your apartment gets nicer. Your car gets nicer. Your lifestyle expands to meet your income. Always. Lie number 4. Social Security will take care of you. Okay, so Social Security isn't going to disappear. Let's be clear about that. But it was never designed to be your sole source of retirement income. It was designed to supplement your savings. The average benefit is about $1,907 a month. That's $22,884 a year. The federal poverty line for a single person in 2026 is $15,060. So yes, Social Security keeps you above the poverty line. Congratulations, you're not technically poor, you're just broke. And here's what people don't realize. Social Security replaces about 40% of your pre-retirement income if you were an average earner. You need about 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your lifestyle. That other 40%, that's supposed to come from your savings. But wait, it gets worse. The Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be depleted by 2034. That doesn't mean benefits go to zero. It means benefits get cut by about 20%, unless Congress does something. So that $1,907 a month, it might become $1,526 a month. Good luck living on that. Lie number 4. You can just work longer. I hear this all the time. If I don't have enough saved, I'll just work until I'm 70. Great plan, except it almost never works out that way. The Employee Benefit Research Institute found that 48% of retirees leave the workforce earlier than planned. Why? Health issues, layoffs, company restructuring, caring for a sick spouse or parent. You might want to work until 70, but your body, your employer, or your life circumstances might have other plans. And if you're forced to retire at 62 instead of 70, you're looking at a 30% reduction in Social Security benefits. So banking on working longer is not a plan. It's a hope, and hope is not a retirement strategy. So why do people fail at this? It's not because they're stupid. It's not because they're lazy. It's because of three psychological traps that are incredibly hard to escape. Trap 1. Lifestyle inflation. You get a raise. What do? Most people immediately increase their spending. New car, bigger apartment, nicer restaurants. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's a killer. Here's what you should do instead. Every time you get a raise, immediately increase your retirement contribution by half of that raise. Got a 6% raise? Increase your 401k contribution by 3%. You still get to enjoy 3% more income, but you're also building wealth. But most people don't do this. A study by the Journal of Consumer Research found that people increase their spending by 50 cents for every dollar increase in income. We literally spend ourselves into the same financial position no matter how much we make. I know someone who makes $250,000 a year and lives paycheck to paycheck. How is that possible? Lifestyle inflation. Big house, expensive cars, private schools, vacations. They're making $250,000 and saving almost nothing. And the crazy part, they don't feel rich. They feel stressed. Because no matter how much you make, if you spend it all, you're broke. Trap 2. Present bias. Your brain values immediate rewards way more than future rewards. This is called present bias, and it's evolutionary. Our ancestors needed to prioritize immediate survival over long-term planning. But in the modern world, this bias destroys your financial future. You'd rather have $100 today than $200 in a year, even though that's a 100% return. Your brain is literally wired to make bad financial decisions. The only way to beat this is to automate everything. Set up automatic transfers to your investment accounts. Make it so you never see the money. If it's automatic, you can't make the wrong choice. When the money never hits your checking account, you don't feel like you're sacrificing anything. You can't miss what you never had. Trap 3. The comparison game. You're constantly comparing yourself to everyone around you. Your coworker gets a new car, you feel like you need a new car. Your friend goes to Europe, suddenly you need a vacation. But here's what you don't see. You don't see their credit card debt. You don't see their empty retirement accounts. You don't see them lying awake at night worried about money. A Princeton study found that 68% of luxury purchases are driven by social comparison, not actual need or even desire. People are buying things they don't want with money they don't have to impress people they don't like. Stop playing this game. You cannot win. There will always be someone with more. Always. And social media has made this so much worse. Everyone's posting their best moments, the vacation, the new house, the fancy dinner. Nobody's posting their retirement account balance. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. All right, enough with the problems. Let's talk about solutions. If you want to be in that 20% who actually retire wealthy, here's exactly what you need to do. Step 1, know your number. Most people have no idea how much they need to retire. They just save whatever feels good and hope it works out. That's not a plan. Here's a simple formula. Take your desired annual retirement income and multiply it by 25. That's how much you need saved. Want to live on $60,000 a year in retirement? You need $1.5 million. Want $80,000? You need $2 million. Want $100,000? You need $2.5 million. This is based on the 4% rule, which says you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year without running out of money. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sam, $2 million, that's impossible. It's not, but you have to start now and you have to be aggressive. Let's do some math. If you're 30 years old and you want $2 million by age 65, that's 35 years of investing. If you can get an average 8% return, you need to invest about $1,400 a month. But Sam, I don't have $1,400 a month. Okay, so start with what you can do. Maybe it's $500 a month. That gets you to about $1.1 million. Not quite $2 million, but a hell of a lot better than $185,000. Step 2, Automate 20% minimum. Here's the hard truth. If you want to retire rich, you need to be saving and investing at least 20% of your gross income, not take-home, gross. I can hear you now. But Sam, I can barely afford my bills now. I get it. So start with 10%. Then in 6 months, bump it to 12%. 6 months later, 15%. Keep going until you hit 20%. And make it automatic. Set up your paycheck so the money goes straight into your retirement accounts before you ever see it. 401k, IRA, taxable brokerage account, whatever. Just automate it. Step 3. Invest aggressively early, then dial it back. When you're young, you have time to recover from market crashes, so you should be 90–100% in stocks. I know that's scary, but bonds and cash are not going to get you to wealthy. Stock market returns average about 10% annually over the long term. Bonds, maybe 4 or 5%. Here's the math. $500 a month at 10% for 30 years is $1.13 million. Same $500 at 5% is $416,000. You're leaving $714,000 on the table by being too conservative. And yes, stocks are volatile. Yes, the market crashes sometimes. But if you're 30 years old, that crash is actually good for you. Why? Because you're buying stocks on sale for the next few years. As you get older, yeah, shift some to bonds. Maybe when you're in your 50s, go 70–30 stocks to bonds. In your 60s, maybe 60–40. But early on, aggressive. And please, don't pick individual stocks. Just buy a low-cost index fund, something like VTSAX or VTI. Total market coverage, minimal fees, boring, perfect. Step 4. Maximize tax-advantaged accounts first. This is free money people leave on the table constantly. Max out your 401k. In 2026, that's $23,500 a year, or $31,000 if you're over 50. Max out your IRA. That's another $7,000 or $8,000 if you're over 50. If you can do both, that's $30,500 a year you're investing tax-advantaged, and that makes a massive difference. Let's say you're in the 24% tax bracket. If you invest $30,500 in a taxable account, you're paying $7,320 in taxes that year. In a 401k, you pay 0 taxes now. That $7,320 can also be invested. Over 30 years at 8% returns, that extra $7,320 per year becomes about $891,000. You literally pay for your retirement just by using the right accounts. Step 5. Increase your income. Look, there's only so much you can cut expenses, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. And I'm not talking about working 3 jobs. I'm talking about strategic career moves. Switching jobs every 2 to 3 years typically results in 10 to 20% pay increases compared to 3% annual raises if you stay put. That's a McKinsey study. So if you're not getting promoted or getting significant raises, start looking. Develop high-income skills. Learn sales, learn marketing, learn to code, learn project management. Skills that make companies money are skills that get paid. I know someone who spent 6 months learning SQL and Python. They moved from a $50,000 analyst role to a $95,000 data analyst role. That's a $45,000 raise. If they invest even half of that extra income, that's an additional $22,500 a year going toward retirement. And here's the key. Remember what I said about lifestyle inflation? When you increase your income, bank at least half of the increase. Half. This is how you actually build wealth. Step 6. Avoid the big financial mistakes. Most people don't fail at retirement because they didn't invest enough. They fail because they made 1 or 2 massive mistakes that destroyed their wealth. Mistake number 1. Car payments. The average new car payment in America is $735 a month. That's $8,820 a year. If you invested that instead at 8% returns over 30 years, you'd have $1.09 million. Buy used cars with cash. Drive them until they die. I know cars are emotional purchases. Get over it. Nobody cares what you drive except you. Mistake number 2. Credit card debt. The average credit card interest rate right now is about 22%. If you're carrying a balance, you're getting crushed. Before you invest another dollar, pay off your credit cards. Mistake number 3, not having an emergency fund. If you don't have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in cash, you're one emergency away from destroying your retirement. When you pull money out of your 401k early, you pay income tax plus a 10% penalty. Plus, you lose all the future growth on that money. A $10,000 withdrawal today is $100,000 you won't have in retirement. Look, here's the bottom line. You have a choice to make right now. You can keep doing what you're doing, what 80% of people do, and hope it magically works out. Spoiler alert, it won't. Or you can take control today. Know your number. Automate your investments at 20% minimum. Be aggressive when you're young. Use tax-advantaged accounts. Increase your income and save the difference. Avoid the big mistakes. This isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. And most people will choose comfortable now over wealthy later. Don't be most people. The gap between the 20% who retire rich and the 80% who don't isn't talent. It's not luck. It's decisions. Small decisions made consistently over decades. Starting today matters more than you think. Every month you wait is thousands of dollars you'll never get back. If this video opened your eyes, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because the information that can change your life is the same information that can change theirs. And drop a comment below. Tell me where you are on your journey. What's your biggest obstacle to saving more? Let's talk about it. I'll see you in the next one.